us, everybody. Come on in. The hallway's full. The sanctuary's empty. Come on in. I need to report this. I'm going to pretend like this is part, since I forgot to do this earlier, I'm going to work it into my shtick, okay? A few people, Reverend D, were dancing. I need to report that to you because I know what you're talking about today, all right? And you're going to find out that the people who were dancing are not the people who are in trouble, all right? I'm going to light this flame and let you know that most days I have a bowl of crystals and rocks and gemstones that sit near my door, and most days I pick one up as I get ready to walk out the door and I put it in my pocket. And I carry it with me all day long, and I wait until the end of the day to get back home and look up what the energy of that stone was. And 98.7% of the time it is spot on. It is precisely what I needed, precisely what I was dealing with that day. And lately, I have gotten a stone almost every day for about 2 weeks that talks about creativity, allowing yourself to be creative, the creative energy, the creative juices, being creative in your world. And as we all know, that doesn't mean that you have to be able to paint a painting. That means that your creative energy starts things, makes things happen, brings things to life, makes things come about, right? And so this morning, as I was getting ready for this service, I looked up in Chinese medicine about the creative force, and the creative force is the father energy. So happy Father's Day. Would all of the creative, amazing fathers please stand up so we can celebrate you? If you're a father, please stand. And if you've ever created anything in your life, then you have some yang energy going on as well. So happy Creative Force Day to all of you. I've got a few quick announcements for you. We have got a busy week happening here at Unity of Music City, which is fantastic. That's what we're here to do, is provide opportunities for spiritual transformation. So we've got a buffet of them for you this week. We have on Tuesday, Becky Astorita's Empath Support Series is running all Tuesdays through the month of June from 7 to 9. That's happening on Tuesday. Also on Tuesday, we have Reiki with Bonnie, the Tree of Knowledge. So if you've ever done a Reiki session with Bonnie Hassan, is Bonnie here today? I don't know if I see Bonnie today. Tuesday night is Reiki with Bonnie. And then Thursday night, we have a summer solstice sound healing concert with Judy Bernard. She did one this past Thursday. The gongs were all set up. all kinds of stuff. If you've ever experienced that, you'll know you'll want to come back. And ring in the summer solstice. It's the longest day of the year. And we have had some pretty long days lately. So what you'll want to do is come get grounded about that. This Friday, we have Spirituality Unplugged with Frank Castellano, 6:30 to 9 in the Namaste Cafe. Bring all of your questions, spiritual questions for discussion. Bring a potluck dish to share. That's always a fantastic time. And you know, one of the things, let me go ahead and mention this, then I'll say something else. Saturday, then, June 23rd, Reiki and Restorative Yoga with Becky, also from 10 to 12. See Becky Astorita for some of those events. The week after, we have a lot of stuff going on as well, and you'll want to pick up a bulletin. Susie Wright reminded me of something that I think is really important, because I know some of these events, like when Frank does a Spirituality Unplugged, when Susie does a mediumship workshop, I know when Becky does things, we have lots of folks who don't go to this church who come to those things. And if you want to really connect with the larger community of New Thought, of people who have a spiritual kinship with us, those are the places where you can do that. So I encourage you to take advantage of those things. And what I encourage you to do right now is stand up so we can sing again. What do you think about that? Let's do it.
I will walk it, I will talk it, I will be love every day. I will give it, I will live it, all along the way. If we want the world to see the love that lives in you and me, we gotta walk it, talk it, give it, live it every day. I will walk it, I will talk it, I will be love every day. I will give it, I will live it, all along the way. If we want the world to see the love that lives in you and me, we gotta walk it, talk it, give it, live it every day. We gotta walk it, talk it, give it, live it every day. We gotta walk it, talk it, give it, live it every day.
Y'all remember that we work with the Dodson Chapel United Methodist Church Food Pantry, don't you? I don't have to remind you of that. I'll tell you what, they've sent us a recent special needs list. So I'm going to let you know what these items are in case you're at the grocery store this week, if you're out Krogering and you want to pick some of these up for the food pantry. Items, personal care items such as deodorant, shampoo, shaving cream, body soap, and women's hygiene. If you don't already have some of those at home, pick some up for yourself as well. That was a joke. All right, never mind. Deodorant. Boom, thunk. Thank you, I'll be here all week. Okay. In the food category, they are looking for canned chicken, canned ravioli, SpaghettiOs, rice, and cereal bars. There's a list posted in the foyer above the Second Harvest Food Bank box, so be sure and take a look at that and add it to your shopping list on the way out. This Wednesday night, of course, this Wednesday during the day, we have lunch bunch at 11:30, and of course, 7 o'clock Wednesday night is Heart Math, which has been a fantastic, amazing, transformative, life-changing class. If you're not coming, then I don't know what else to do for you. I will tell you this, because of the fact that we have choir practice tomorrow night, those of you in choir, we have choir practice tomorrow night, we have something going on at Unity of Music City every day this week. Every day or every night. And that's what a spiritual community should be, a place of community. B?
Good morning. I'm going to ask the other prayer chaplains to stand this morning. And as we have mentioned every week, when a prayer chaplain is wearing a stole like this, that chaplain is available to pray with you after the service. But I wanted you to know that we do a lot more than pray after the service. This week, our congregation has had some people with difficult times, people in hospital, people in rehab, people with struggles. And our pastoral care team has been available, has gone to visit, has prayed with people. We're there, so don't feel shy about requesting prayer from us. That's what we're here for. We're here to hold the high watch for you. Thank you. And now, a different emotion. The adventure begins. My life is perfectly alive in the divine flow of spirit. The energy is dancing in my heart and expressing through my life now. Affirmation. I say yes to the dance of life, and I am willing to follow Spirit's lead. Together, I say yes to the dance of life, and I am willing to follow Spirit's lead. All of my life is a perfect expression of the divine. In this now moment, I surrender to the flow of Spirit. I am awake and aware of new doors opening and old doors closing, new opportunities, new ways of expression for me to experience, enjoy, and express. I am eager to follow Spirit's lead. Realizing I am one with all, I meet the adventures of each day with joy and overflowing love. I say yes to life with every step and every breath. I pay attention to each moment and make intentional choices that create a deeper experience with the sacred flow of life. With each yes, I say thank you for all the beauty that surrounds and embraces me. I am grateful for each new opportunity and celebrate the adventure. I say yes to the dance of life, and I am willing to follow Spirit's lead.
And so I ask that you just settle into your seats. And as we say, I say yes to the dance of Spirit. Anything that's in your inner being saying no, blow that out right now. Just release it. And drop those 18 inches to your heart space and ask yourself, what is it that I'm saying yes to in this now moment? I say yes to the dance of Spirit. And what does that dance look like right now in my life? How is Holy Spirit showing up in my life? What are the things that I see? What are the things that I hear? And what are the things that I am feeling? And what am I being asked to say yes to? Living, loving Spirit, there is so much going on out in the outer world. And so we are very thankful to take this moment of time to pull in and to be in our heart space and to just be silent and to be here now. I say yes, and I am willing to allow you to lead in the silence. In the silence. say yes to the dance of life. And I am willing to follow Spirit's lead. And with each yes, I say thank you specifically today for all the beauty that surrounds us. And thank you to the fathers who have shown up, who may no longer be in this physical manifestation. Thank you to the fathers who are still here on this planet. And thank you for all the fathers who will come. I say yes to the dance of life, and I am willing to follow Spirit's lead. O birther, father, mother of the cosmos, focus your light within us and make it useful. Create your reign of unity now through our fiery hearts and willing hands. Help us love beyond our ideals and sprout acts of compassion for all creatures. Animate the earth within us. We then feel the wisdom underneath supporting all. Untangle the knots within us so that we can mend our hearts and simply have ties to each other. Don't let surface things delude us. Free us from what holds us back from our true purpose. And out of you, the astonishing, passionate fire of living. Return light and sound to our cosmos through us and in us as us. And we say these things in and through the name of Jesus, our master teacher. And so it is. Amen.
Our Father,
wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give fate the fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might mean a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give fate the fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. Dance. Get up, everybody. Let's dance. Come on. I hope you dance. Oh, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. Sing it with me. I hope you dance. Sing it to somebody you love. I hope you dance. Sing it to somebody you don't know. I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
Is a will in constant motion, always moving us along. Tell me who wants to look back on their years and always wonder what's gone wrong.
You know, it's very interesting that Deb said what she said this morning, because Judy and I just got back from a week in Kansas City at a Unity Ministers Conference. And what I want to tell you, the difference in being there and being here is those over 500 ministers were uninhibited. And so when music was playing, they were standing up in the chairs, they were dancing, they were twirling around in the aisles, they were doing all that. But when you come back to Nashville, Tennessee, for some reason, we are And so today's lesson is about that. And I'm not doing a lesson to make dancers out of all of you, but I am saying what stops you from moving in your life. Does that make sense? I grew up in the Church of Christ. Many, many times when people that don't know me find that out, they go, how in the world did you get to Unity and become a minister? I was like, I don't really know. But part of it was I couldn't be still in my seat in the Church of Christ. Any of you who've ever been in the Church of Christ, you don't clap your hands, you don't tap your feet, you don't move, you don't stand up, you don't hold hands with anybody, you don't do any of that. You just be still and be good. Can you imagine be still and be good in this body, personhood? It was really difficult. Woo, you made it back to Nashville, Mr. Appelt. Look at you. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance. So think about that in your own life. And I'm not talking about just when you went to some sort of a dance in high school and college. I'm talking about every day. In every moment, how do you make the choice to dance with what life is right there, or you just say, no, I'm not involved? I have to tell you all something very exciting that I have known for about 2 or 3 weeks, but I was told to not say anything about it until Friday. Is it Friday? When I had the prayer about fathers that had been and fathers that were and fathers that will be. I'm going to be a grandma. My son Logan and his wife are expecting. Their child will come towards the end of December, a Christ child, as I've told him. I told him I hope it's not like him. He had colic for almost 2 years, so let's not pray for that. But how do we dance with new pieces of information? You know what I mean? Judy's gone, I have to be a grandma? I was like, well, you can create it in whatever way you want to create that. You know what I mean? But life moves on. Some of the words up underneath what Jamie was singing a while ago, time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. But sometimes we hold on, don't we? I don't want to. Tell me, who wants to look back on their years and wonder where those years have gone? If anybody had told me when I was 28 that I would be a grandma someday, I guess I knew that I would. But how do we get ready for that? Because it just kind of comes, doesn't it? And it's like I can either say yes or I can be ornery. But it's going to keep happening. So we're going to say this together. I'm going to say it first, and then you're going to say it after me. My life is perfectly alive in the divine flow of spirit. Can you feel that? Say that with me. My life is perfectly alive in the divine flow of spirit. Now go inside yourself and go, where are the places that I want to breathe more life into? Where is that? And this was the affirmation we did this morning. So we're going to do it, and then we're going to do the whole thing. I say yes to the dance of life, and I am willing to follow Spirit's lead. Some of you might be open to the first part and not open to the second part. Have you ever not been open to follow Spirit's lead? Surely you don't mean that's for me to do. That wasn't mine. That was Michael Midget's, not mine, right? That was his message, not mine. So say the last part. I say yes. Say this with me. I say yes to the dance of life, and I am willing to follow Spirit's lead. So we're going to read this whole thing together, and then I want you to pay attention to what your body feels like. That's another thing that we were talk to about and we experience for a whole week, we are so disconnected from our bodies. Do you realize that? We're all about this, our heads and our thoughts, and aren't we smart? What about all this here? Hence why I'm thrilled that we're going to be talking about dancing today, and you're going to get an opportunity, and some of you are going to choose to sit, and that's okay too, but make that your decision. Does that make sense? Say this with me. My life is perfectly alive in the divine flow of spirit. I say yes to the dance of life, and I am willing to follow Spirit's lead. Check in with yourself. Just pay attention. Because some of that may feel good, and some of it you may have been, oh, what am I affirming here? A lot of us know a whole lot of things probably about Albert Einstein, but some of you may have never seen this quote of his. We dance for laughter. We dance for tears. We dance for madness. I've done that before. Has anybody else ever done that? We dance for fears. We dance for hopes. We dance for screams. We are the dancers. We create the what? And do you understand that we've been focusing for 2 whole months on the mother energy and now the father energy? And the father energy is that yang energy that creates. We all have it in us. Whether you showed up this time as a woman or a man, we all have that creative energy. And am I willing to use it? Am I willing to use it? I'm letting people take pictures. We had to do this all week. Everybody was like, whoa, wait, wait. So, I'm going to ask you to be here now because I want to tell you that some of this may be some things that you aren't necessarily going, woohoo! I'm going to give you an experience or two during this Sunday that you will be invited into. And again, you can either do it or you can sit and watch. But when you do whatever you decide to do, make sure you do it in integrity with who you are. Can you hear that? Because we don't ever choose to do something because everybody else is, and I need to do it too. And then also, if you decide to not, make sure it's not because you're afraid you're going to look strange. We'll talk about that in a moment too. Anybody ever been afraid that they might look weird if they got up and did something? That's why I wished I could have taken a video of the whole week of the Unity Conference, because you would have seen over 500 very uninhibited people that did not care what they looked like and didn't care what anybody else was doing because they were full of life. There's a difference in being in that kind of energy and being in energy where you feel like, uh-oh, I'm afraid somebody might think I'm weird if I stand up and do something. Which gets us to this piece right here. This was the month of May, and it was the invitations in the month of May. Mothers' invitations to you are to feel everything, to question everything, and to resist nothing. How do you do with that? How are you doing with the mother's invitations? Just breathe. Because I'm going to tell you what you have to do to be able to step into those. Deb's going to come up here and read something. I told her it was very interesting, and also she and I are usually most of the time on the same page, that we had both read this week. She posted it on our Facebook page. I was going to have it as a part of my lesson. But to be able to feel everything, to question everything, and to resist nothing, you have to let go. I want you to think about that in the realms of dancing in your life. Because if I'm literally going to dance in my life, I have to let go. I have to not be holding on to whatever that was that I think is keeping me safe. Deb?
She let go. Without a thought or a word, she let go. She let go of fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons, wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry. She just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all of the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her day timer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. And no one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore.
Exhale. What would happen in my life, in your life, if we let go of all of that and just exhaled and lived our lives? That, my friends, is what this lesson is about today. Because again, you cannot dance with Holy Spirit and hold on to something. 6 months ago, my son and his wife were not pregnant. And now they are. And their whole world is shifting. And they live with my 86-year-old parents, and if they didn't live with them and chose to be there and help them, my parents could not live alone anymore. And so now there's conversations on how's this going to be, and there's going to be a baby in your house. And I'll be honest, my mother's excited, and my daddy's going, whoo. And I know every time I spent about 4 hours there yesterday morning to check in with them since I had been in Kansas City. And when I get home, Judy said, how are they? And I'm like, oh, how am I? I don't know. I have to let go. Does that make sense? Part of me would like to fix something. Where are you going to have this baby? In what part of this house? I grew up in this house from 7th grade on. What are you going to do? How's it going to be? Is it going to bother my parents? Are they going to be able to sleep? I had to let go. Do we understand that piece? I know I'm not the only one who tries to make everything okay and fix everything for everybody else. Sometimes when it ain't even any of my business, because I don't even live there. Everybody breathe. Because here's the invitations from the Father energy that we've been focusing on. Live like you're dying. If this was my last day and I knew I wasn't going to be here tomorrow, what would I do? Who would I talk to? Well, how would I spend the rest of my afternoon? Be awakened by your dream. The closer I get to the end, the more I go, is my life really what I wanted it to be? Are there pieces and parts of this that I really, really, really wanted to do that I still haven't done? Those of you who were here that Sunday, do I have a bucket list? Are there anything on it that I really want to make sure that I get done? Because, tomorrow is not here. And those of you who have ever lost a person to death know that it can happen so very quickly and then it's done and tomorrow is not there. Love like you're dancing is today's lesson. Next week is going to be widen your world, and it will push everybody's buttons. So when you come in, I will make them lock the door before you. But that's next Sunday. But love like you're dancing. If you really loved everything and everybody, which is what we say in unity, don't we? I love everybody and everything until they piss me off. Until they post the wrong thing on Facebook. Until I see them on the news. Love like you're dancing. Follow whose lead? Spirit's lead. I'm going to ask you that again because I only had 3 people that answered that time. Follow whose lead? Yeah. You can call it God, you can call it Spirit, you can call it life, the energy of life, but that is the flow that you have to dance in as long as you're in these human bodies. How has your mind, your thoughts, affected your dance with life over the years? Did you hear Deb's thing that she read? How many of you have held on too much to stuff? Worried about what other people thought? Look at that. I loved that when I saw that. It's like, okay, but then if you look up in the upper right-hand corner, do I have big issues? Do I have things I'm dealing with? How are those things affecting my dance of life? One of the most profound things I heard at the Unity Conference was this, so I had to write the quote down and bring it to you. Howard Caesar, who has just retired from ministry, was in the largest Unity church in the movement, over 5,000 people in Houston, Texas. One of the first things he said, because they asked these people questions about how would you do ministry different if you were starting today, and I felt really thrilled with myself because he said I would not, as the minister, be in charge of the administration or be the CEO of the church. That just doesn't work. And I was like, woohoo! That's not me. I don't. He said, because a minister is supposed to minister to the people. Don't worry about the money. Somebody else will take care of that. But one of the things he talked to us about very, very strongly is that unity and religious science and Michael Beckwith's church, we all are new thought, and we're about our thoughts. But have you ever noticed that you can hear something enough and then you can start taking it in and believing it? Just hear this. I know you've read it already and you've giggled a little bit in your nice Nashville, not out of control way. We were all rolling in the floor and people were snorting when this was on the screen in Kansas City. If you continue to hear something stupid enough times, you will begin to call it wisdom. Can you understand what's going on in our world today? And there are many things out there, and I'm not going to get political with you, but there are many things out there that are being said that I'm going, that's just stupid. I don't say that to many people but Deb and possibly Judy, and I'll be like, I can't really even begin to wrap my mind around this because it makes no sense. It seems stupid. But you understand that that's the way the mind works. If we hear something enough, we go, oh, well, I can enfold into that. Which is one of the reasons they pushed all of our buttons all week. They said unity has got to quit hiding its light under a bushel and get on the world stage and say, enough of this. This is not okay. We cannot handle this. Can you hear that? Locking up and keeping children at the border in cages is not humane. It's not okay. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. It does not matter. It's not okay. It's not okay. Racism is not okay. I don't care who you are. It's not okay. Judy and I are wearing our shirts proudly this morning. I don't know if you've looked at what it says. Stand up. It says, be careful who you hate. It could be someone you love. This is LGBTQ, whatever all those letters are. Because what we found out over the years is people get to know us and they love us, and then when they find out we're together, they're like, ooh, that's not okay. Unity is about humanity and taking care of people's hearts. And we have to make sure that that's the line that we don't cross. Amen. Do you realize that? Thank you. I'm glad I have an amen corner because we hollered and screamed all week. Woo! Lord mercy. Because do you realize how quiet unity has been over the years? It's all God and it's all good. It's not. I'm here to tell you it's not. Abused children is not all God and all good. Being racist and keeping black people or any other people out is not all God and it's not all good. It's not. Not taking care of our precious earth, I see my Tipple friend out there, is not okay. It's not all God, it's not all good. That's why I celebrate the fact that we have 8.5 acres of trees and grass here. Do you realize how quick that's going away in our world right now? Lord mercy. Lord mercy. There's not many places that you can have grass and not concrete on the top of it. Now, those of you who've never been here before and heard the Satan and the devil and the sin thing, in unity we believe that the devil or Satan or sin are error thoughts. Now go back to this screen. If you continue to hear something stupid enough times, you will begin to call it wisdom. And then you will begin to dance with the devil. And then you'll wonder one morning, why am I in hell? Because I chose that thought. Do you hear me? I chose to think that thought, and it's bothering me, and it keeps coming up, and my life is a mess, and I'm miserable. But don't I just keep thinking it? Because I think it's right. Do you know that if you're thinking a thought and it's making you miserable, it's not the right thought? Can you take that in? We were not taught that as children. We were taught there was a whole big pile of right things. And these are the right things. And I don't know about you all, but I tried really hard to do all and be all of the right things, and I never could get it right. Never. I was always in trouble. I was always being spanked. I was always being put in timeout. I was never thinking right according to somebody else. But I knew that when I started thinking like this, it made me feel wonky. Does anybody else understand what I'm talking about? But we weren't taught. We were taught we had to be okay with this. Do we have to be okay with the things that are going on out in the world? No, we don't. We do not. Divine mind is the one and only reality. This is a human experience you're having right now in your human body. It's human. Divine mind is what we call in unity God. That's the only real truth there is. But we're saying this is real right here. Except for my Course in Miracles students who know that this is not real. This is just part of the dream that we've created here. How has your physical body affected your dance over the years? As I was sharing with Jill, growing up, I was a gymnast and I was a dancer. I was about 50 pounds lighter. And I taught for 10 years high-impact aerobics at Cosmopolitan Health Spa. John Martins remembers because he remembers seeing me there 150 years ago. At least, John, right? At least 150 years ago. And what I know today is doing that for that length of time did a toll on my knees. Does that make sense? But these are the knees that I have in this physical body to do the work that I have to do. Deb, Neely, you're just grinning. Because we've had this conversation. And yes, I believe in healing and unity, and I will tell you that some days are diamonds and some days are not. That in our community. And that's what B was alluding to. I was in the hospital yesterday for about 4 hours with one of them. I'm going today to 2 different hospitals. Sometimes we struggle with that, and it causes us stress in our dance with life. But it's part of this human thing. My body responds to the flow of divine energy within me. Say that with me. My body responds to the flow of divine energy within me. What would that be like if you allowed your body to respond to the energy of divine flow instead of going back to the mind level and going, oh, this hurts? Because it does. But am I willing to respond to the divine flow, or am I going to dance with the devil all day? This is one of the reasons that we struggle in our lives. How many of you take days off? I'm not talking about a day off to get your house cleaned up. I'm talking about a day off to breathe. I see a few hands. All of us ministers were asked that. How many of you take a Sabbath? And we were like, well, they didn't ask you how many of you work on the Sabbath. Does that make sense? How many people pull away from the world and go within and have a day to yourself to breathe? Very few. Isn't it interesting that that's one of the messages that goes throughout the whole scriptures? Take time. Take a Sabbath. What would that look like for you? We all have our personal expressions of God. I see all kinds of people out here and that have done all kinds of things out in the world, and that's your expression of God. And how has that choice of that expression of God affected your dance? I'm not going to make eye contact with you, Jill, because you chose a hard one for a little while. She's on the Metro School Board. But it's like, how is what I choose to do and be, how is that affecting my dance? Because it does. Have any of you ever been in a job and all of a sudden you woke up one day and went, this is not working for me anymore? Anybody other than me? It's because of this. It's because how I chose to express myself in the world no longer felt right. I'm always amazed at the people who, like my son Austin, who is not the one who's becoming a daddy because he wants to still be free and his wife and him travel and do all kinds of fun things. But he's known since he was old enough to talk, he wanted to work and deal with cars. That's all he's ever wanted to do. And he went right through high school and went through Lincoln Technology, and he is out there making a lot more money than me already, and he's happy. Because that's his expression in the world. Do you understand that? Say that with me. I find joy in being my true self. What is your true self? Who is your true self? Or have you been wandering around going, well, let's see, could be a banker. Let me see. No, let's see. A lawyer, that might be fun. No, let's see. What? Isn't that what some of us do or did? And then I know that for a while, even in schools, it was like, okay, where can I make the most money? I'm going to do that. Even if I hate it all day, every day, that's what I'm going to do. How does that affect your expression? Stand up. This is the first time I'm going to ask you to do something. And if you get really discombobulated, you don't have to do it. This is a Charles Fillmore song. It's crazy. It's stupid. It just makes you feel silly like you're in kindergarten. But that's okay. Did you decide what key? Okay, listen to me for a minute. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Again, every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Pause right there. Because when you're doing that, there's motions. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. And I know some of you have not been in kindergarten in a long time and didn't teach kindergarten music like I did. But what I can already see is some of you are already grinning, and some of you are going, oh, dear God, when do we get to sit down? When you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. Ready? Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. And you just need to put your hands up like this. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is well. I'll stay there for a minute. Some of you are going, this is crazy. Some of what you may not know about unity. So I'm going to give you a little history. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were vegetarians. They would not let anybody on the grounds eat meat. When I first started going to the village years and years ago, everything was vegetarian. They had exercise every morning. They had an Olympic-sized pool where they made everybody swim. They were big on being happy, being well, taking care of your body, taking care of the earth. Does that make sense to you? So, one more time, sing this with me. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad. Every little cell in my body is well. Now have a seat and talk to somebody about how that felt for just a minute. If nothing else, this is a great affirmation to take home and say. Because what this is about is healing your body while you're singing. And you're moving. Do you realize emotion, energy, and motion? That's what it is. And you just stirred some. You just stirred some. So now we're going to get down to the hardest part. Everybody breathe and just read that question to yourself. I know it's all their fault, right? They were the ones that stepped on toes. They were the ones that danced out of line, out of rhythm, right? Or is that really true? Because this is the piece that makes it the hardest. If it was just me interacting with the world, but I have to have relationships with all these people. And everybody's different. Everybody is different. And what everybody wants is different. And lots of people have personal agendas. You ever met any people like that? You ever looked in the mirror and seen what yours was? And it's like we're meeting each other with personal agendas and we can't get to each other because all that's out there. Can you see that? In a dance with another person, there are at least 4 partners, you and your experience, whatever it is, and them and their experience, and your 2 experiences are not going to be the same. Any of you been leaders in dances and other people tried to be leaders too, and then there was just this big old... Or anybody of you really ever tried to dance with somebody and you couldn't figure out who was leading and who wasn't leading? Yeah. And then the experience gets kind of wonky. So what I'm going to tell you before we have an experience of a dance here in just a moment is these are kind of like the things that we need to think about in this dance of life. We have to be here now. You can't dance with another person and not be in the present body because you will get your feet stepped on, they will drag you all over the floor. I mean, just think about that. Same thing is true with life. You cannot dance with your life and not be present in your physical body to know what's going on. There is a rhythm and a timing. Are you aware of it? Some dances are fast. Some dances are wild. Some dances are slow. What happens when you and another person are dancing a different dance? Jill and Dan are going to be dancing for us in a few minutes, and if one of them decided to dance the rumba and the other one decided to waltz, it would be a mess. We can't do that. There's variations on a theme. If you keep having the same kind of issues, it's just a different person. Guess whose issue it is? I've told this to some of you, but when I went through a divorce back in my 20s that was horrendous, and I was with a very abusive person, and my growing up years had been very abusive, and a therapist said to me, Denise, if you walk into a room and you are attracted to a person, run like hell, fast away, don't go in there ever again. And I was like, what does that mean? Until I get past the variations on the theme, I'm going to have the same person and the same person and the same person until I deal with that piece. Does that make sense? It takes two to fight. I've had many people come to me over the years that I've done therapy and go, it's all that person's fault. I'm like, no. It takes two people to fight. You have to engage to fight. Sometimes we have to stop the music and reset and breathe. Sometimes we wake up and go, this is not the right dance for me. I'm going to let them come up here and get ready. You may want, I don't know if you all want a mic, yes, because I'm going to read something that I want you to hear, and I want you just to take this in, and then they're going to share something before they dance for us. This is Oriah Mountain Dreamer. I have sent you my invitation, the note inscribed on the palm of my hand by the fire of living. Don't jump up and shout, yes, this is what I want, let's do it. Just stand up quietly and dance with me. Show me how you follow your deepest desires, spiraling down into the ache within the ache, and I will show you how I reach inward and open outward to feel the kiss of the mystery, sweet lips on my own every day. Don't tell me you want to hold the whole world in your heart. Show me how you turn away from making another wrong without abandoning yourself when you are hurt and afraid of being unloved. Tell me a story of who you are and see who I am in the stories I live, and together we will remember that each of us always has a choice. Show me how you offer to your people and the world the stories and the songs you want our children's children to remember. And I will show you how I struggle not to change the world, but to love it. Sit beside me in long moments of shared solitude, knowing both our absolute aloneness and our undeniable belonging. Dance with me in the silence and in the sound. And when the sound of all the declarations of our sincerest intentions has died away on the wind, dance with me in the infinite pause before the next great inhale of the breath that is breathing us all into being. Don't say yes. Just take my hand and dance with me.
That was beautiful, Denise. I just want to say that about almost 30 years ago, I went through a divorce. And because I was feeling my feelings, I cried around the clock. And I did this for about a year. And at some point, I thought, I really want to learn to dance. I've always wanted to, but I've never done it. So I started taking dance lessons. And what I learned was that when I could be in my car, and I had my affirmations that I had recorded, and I could cry all the way to the dance, and then I would go into the dance and I would have a great time, and then I'd get back in my car and I'd cry all the way home. And I thought, isn't that interesting that I can switch my emotions at the snap of a finger just by dancing? And then years later, I met this wonderful man, and we actually met at a dance in North Georgia. And during that time, after a period of time, we decided to get married. And our wedding idea was, it was a quote from Rumi saying, "We have fallen into a place where everything is music." And that really has been the gist of our life together. However, not to say that we don't get mad at each other and we don't have stress in our lives. But it's interesting that we can, have the stress of our home renovation and the stress of the school board, and the stress of daily life, but we get on that dance floor and nothing else is happening except us and moving to the sound of the music. So we are going to dance a waltz to a song that Tom Kimmel wrote for us when we got married. And I also want to say that I have a lot of male energy. I go to it, get it done. But being a follower in this dance caused me to rely on my female energy, which is letting go and following. And so now when Dan and I dance, there are times that he does, I'm kind of expecting one move. We've been dancing together for a long time. I'm expecting one move and I get another one, and I just find it so much fun, to follow now rather than having to lead in this particular part of my life. So thank you, Denise, for asking us.
If I told the world what you mean to me now, I might need forever to get all the words out. The day could be over, the seasons could change, and I'd just be started. So how do I say I love you like I never loved before? I love you, and I could not love you more. If I started to paint you the picture of us that's here in my heart, it could never be done. I don't know the colors, I don't own the brush to show how I could need anybody this much. I love you like I never loved before. I love you, and I could not love you more. And if I knew the prayer, I would pray it tonight. Lord, please teach me the way to do this thing right. I don't know the song, I can't name the dance that moves in my heart when you reach for my hand. When I wake up beside you and know this is real and not just a dream that the sun came to steal. I love you like I never loved before. I love you, and I could not love you more.
That was the sweetest dang thing I have seen in years, maybe years. That was absolutely beautiful. And even while watching you dance, I don't have to cry about things. So thank you so much. Oh my goodness, what a service. I don't know about you. I take notes during service because I know that writing things down transforms them for me. And I have so many quotes starred and circled and highlighted, and those are the ones from her directly, not the ones that were on the screen. So what a service. It is time for us to do our sacred walk of abundance. So if you'll take your tithes and gifts and offerings in your hand and say the offering affirmation with me, please. I live in the midst of infinite abundance. I give freely and fearlessly to life, and life gives back to me.
So we're going to have the offering blessing, and then just be aware that the ending is going to be different today. So we open our hands and our hearts and our minds. And we know that our gifts have come from the heart and come through that flow of the dance of life. And they are received into the dance of unity of Music City and flow back out into the world. We know that as we dance, so shall we receive, heaped up, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, for that's the law, and so it is. There's a quote by Wayne Dyer, which is on the next screen. When you dance, your purpose is not to get to a certain place on the floor. When you're living your life, it is not to get to a certain place on the floor. It is to enjoy each step along the way. So know that the way we have ended our service for the last 20-something years is not happening today. There is a video. The youth are going to bust in, and you are going to be filled up with music and dancing when you get the chance to sit it out or dance. We hope you dance.
Okay, guys.
This is just you can't stop.
This will be the song.
It's coming.
This is coming out May 6th.
May 6th?
Yeah.
Hey.